Well, so that's an interesting point you brought up is y- because you've run and you are running globally distributed teams from Asia to Europe to Asia, to the Americas, different cultures, different places, different languages, different trigger points, all these different sort of norms. Um, Forget about, just for COVID and the impact it's having, which we'll get into in a second. But just in normal times, how have you managed to bridge across all these different cultures and how and what are some of the key lessons there, takeaways?
Well, the first is an insanely good question. The first answer I'm going to give is a really bad answer. And I know it's a really bad answer. And I'll tell you why it's a really bad answer. Um, Last year, so 2019, I flew 325,000 miles, flown miles, not points, not, with riders or accelerators from United or American or other airlines. I flew 325,000 miles. That included 5 trips to India, I think a trip to Tokyo for a couple of days, a bunch of trips to London, and then, an insane amount of trips around the United States. And the reason why did I do that is because I love building relationships and working with people face to face. COVID has caused somewhat of a challenge with that. I think this year I have flown 2,000 miles. And we've all had to learn different tools and different techniques and tricks, but I really miss getting out and meet people face to face. And not just within an office environment, to go out and have dinner, have a drink, have a coffee, have a breakfast, walk the streets, just chatting to people more casually, getting to know folks, as three-dimensional beings, not just the two-dimensional beings that we see on the screen. So the way that I do it is I like to get out and I like to travel and I like to spend time just hanging out and getting to know them. And the reason I say it's insanely bad is if you're flying 325,000 miles, you're invariably always jet lagged. Your family are not happy about you because you're out there. You might be having a fun time, but how do you got to think and be thoughtful and take care of other people around you and your family and your life obligations. So I would never suggest anybody flies that amount every year. It works for me. It matches my personality. But the point being, building those relationships in the best
Building
way
connections.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I do a lot of one-on-one meetings. And that allows me to have the discussion in a tight, close forum to be able to say, not just, how can I help, but to really, invite and give permission for me to get feedback. What are the behaviors that I'm exhibiting that you're curious about, that you think I should change?
Do you do one-on-one meetings with just your direct reports, or do you do one-on-ones with even folks that are below?
Oh yeah, I do skip level whenever I can, and they're either folks that I want to talk to because there's something interesting about them, and I've learned about them second or third hand, and then other folks that will reach out to me. I'd have to go and look up in the corporate organization chart to figure out where they are that, want to spend 30 minutes with me. And, folks have said to me over time, why do you spend so much time talking to people? And like, it's insanely valuable. And they're like, well, yeah, we get it. They're learning a lot from you, Colin. I'm like, okay, that's nice. Thank you. Flattery is great. But make no bones about it. I'm learning a lot from them. They're teaching me about how they think, how they're showing up, their background, their experiences. They're putting their lens on the world that we share together. And I learn an insane amount from them. I'll coach and mentor, 3 or 4 people at any point in time, formally or informally. And I'll say to them at the beginning of any of those kind of relationships, listen, I'm doing this not because I like you and I want to help you out. I do like you. I do want to help you out. But I'm doing it as much for my benefit as yours because you're going to teach me an awful lot. And they'll be like, it'll be somebody that's 22 years old. And like, I have nothing to teach you. I'm like, oh, yes, you do. You've got a perspective and a lens that I don't have. And by the way, this relationship will carry on as long as you're getting something out of it and I'm getting something out of it. The day it stops for either of us, we'll know it. We're done. Okay, without prejudice, but we're done. Some of those mentoring relationships have gone on for years and have transcended companies. Others will last a couple of weeks or a couple of months. They'll carry on if they're right, and they will stop when it's the right thing and the right time to do.
Yeah, removing age out of the equation is such an understated, I think, quality from a good leader. Is no ageism. It's just everyone can learn from each other. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, again, we've got, you know, so many, God, I'd learned so much interesting stuff from people, their perspective. And again, neither right nor wrong, good nor bad, just additional data points and both objective and subjective thought and opinion that helps me, you know, with my intent to show up better every day. And
Yeah.
that's some of the, you know, experiences, mine and yours and everybody else's, that I love to accumulate along the way. And I would do it even if I, you know, I don't think about it consciously, but, you know, hey, great ideas, great, you know, when I see people showing up and being very thoughtful, I want to steal that approach. You know, maybe that's the, you know, the drama and the actor in me. It's all part of the role.
Yeah.